Jason, I think you can follow along. James, you can chime on in. I think we've got a little happy birthday. Nobody else sings. Nobody else sings here.
To you.
Happy birthday to you. Jason, happy birthday, dear Logan, our man Logan. It's his happy birthday. We're a day late. But that was weak and pitiful and pathetic, Logan. But that's the best we can do for you tonight. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. I thank you a lot. I get to hang out with you guys. I might be a little hungover. I might have slept 2 hours last night, but we are still here, and we're going to have a good time in the next hour or so talking some Florida State football. And Jason actually sang, which people were hoping that he would sing, and he did live.
Logan hungover?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? This is obviously a first time, and he's never going to do it again. He just did it.
First time. Alcohol is crazy. It's really first time.
You just had no idea, did you?
No.
We're going to speak slowly and softly to you, at least at the start here, since we know you're still not totally with it and totally with us. What did you do? Where did you go? How much did you drink?
Well, I had gotten back from Atlanta, which my mom set up a really fun trip up there for the weekend, and ended up being a good, relaxing time with some family up there. But yesterday we went down to College Town, and we were safe. We did our social distancing, but some of our boys are bartenders, and we had a good time at the bar for a few hours, and then I stayed up just way too late. I just don't know how to go to bed. And then I had to work at 10 a.m. So I had to rebound really quickly and no sleep. I mean, I'm so stupid. I mean, I will never learn, but I took a little nap earlier, a little power nap, and we're ready to rock.
I think I speak for James and Mark. As you get older, it's going to get sadder the less you can drink without that hangover. So just get ready for it as you get older. But before we turn back over to Mark, I do want to give James Coleman the first shout out of the night. James Coleman.
Drinking heavily over the weekend too?
No. Okay. I'll give two shout outs. Number one, for drinking heavily over the weekend. But number two, for giving back to the community. James was a part of it was a backpack giveaway in Tallahassee. James, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I got an opportunity to well, really what it is, unlike Logan, if I were single, if I were like Logan and I didn't have anything to lose, like, which is not a problem. Enjoy that, please. I would probably have went on ahead and went out of the country or done something silly for my 36th birthday. Obviously, my jersey number. I chose to bypass my 35th birthday, and my 36th birthday was going to be foolish. I was going to have a party in Tallahassee, Jacksonville, and then go to the DR and have a guys getaway. We're going to have a good time there. But obviously with COVID and having some people that I take care of that I can't go out and do, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy 36 book bags for some kids. And then a lot of people, a lot of Seminole Nation, a lot of Big Three Nation, Big Three Twitter kind of saw it and said, hey, man, let me know what you're going to do. And then it kind of got out of control. And I hired a young lady, Brittany Christie out of Tallahassee, who actually went to my high school. And she organized it, and man, she made me look way better than what I really am. We ended up giving away about 300 book bags. We gave away 300 book bags. We had 1,500 pounds of food through Farm Share that we gave away to people who needed it. It was a great feeling, great vibe. That area, that side of town is where I kind of grew up at. I didn't go to that elementary school, Bond, but we're going to develop a relationship with them, and I'm going to help provide some academic resources because everybody loves to cheer the athlete, and that's dope, and it is. Trust me, as a guy who busts heads and scored touchdowns, that stuff is hard, and you should be cheered for it. But kids, the academic side should be cheered too. So, and with all the negativity and all the statistics and blah, 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 all this other stuff that I see, I wanted to show people that statistics lie, and that I wanted to show them that this is what the real is, and we're going to do it again here in Jacksonville. Well, not here. I'm not in Jacksonville, but right now. But we're going to do it in Jacksonville, I believe September 12th or 13th, sometime that weekend. We're going to do it there, and next year we'll do it even bigger. It's going to be like me having tailgates and giving away tickets. That's going to be the new thing. So If you want to know how to be a part, we have figured it out. It is very simple, and it is not discrete branding. Everything in life is branding. A book bag packed to the brim for 9 weeks is $36 a book bag. If you can't remember 30, just remember, you want to save a kid, 36. That's how we're doing it. So $36 per book bag. If you want to send money, I appreciate you, Mark, for your donation. That's going to go directly toward it. And after being blasted last year by Karen Key Largo, everything is going to get put on Twitter. So you will see receipts. If you have a question about where one penny went, feel free to ask, and you'll see it, because I'm gonna make sure your timeline is flooded. Because the last thing I need somebody doing is questioning my character for a couple $1,000s. I can make that. A very, very easy. I don't need to steal it from it. I'm stealing by pretending to get the kids.
Wait, Karen Key Largo's still alive?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't care. But bottom line is, I only cared because it was something she put out on very publicly, and I was like, yo, I've never wanted to fight a woman before, but I was hot. It took a lot to calm me down on that one.
Mark, I've decided for my birthday in 2 weeks, I'm going to be more like James than Logan. Because just look at that right now. Look at James. James looks light, like the light is there, and it looks like he's happy. Logan looks like he's been crying.
I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation.
Just look at
That's what it is.
Look at the two of them right there. That's all I'm saying right there. Logan looks like death's door right there, and James looks maxed and relaxed. That's all. Turn a light on, Logan. Jesus.
I just realized that I'm always the last to know these things, or maybe I'm oblivious, or maybe I'm just off doing my own thing. But man, I missed Logan's birthday, I missed James' birthday, and it took me. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer all the time, and I will admit that. I was talking to somebody on the phone today and said, "Hey, I got a little slice of a dumb blonde in me, but it took me till just now to determine and figure out. Oh, that's why it's $36 a book bag. I just thought it was $36 a book bag."
Well, it came out. It came out. It might actually be like $38, but I didn't want to go out and say 38, 36. We're okay. We come up with the rest of the money another way. But for people who want, but originally what it was is I put up $2,000 of my own money, and I was gonna go do it myself, and because that's what I was gonna spend on my birthday. And well, part of it, I was gonna probably end up spending more when you add alcohol, and like Logan would know, but I figured that was good enough to be able to do a part with. And again, like I said, it was a great, warming feeling, and the kids were excited, and yeah. So, but again, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, James, I don't think it's necessarily something that most of us think about, but to send a kid off to school who might be a little bit hungry, who doesn't have the proper supplies to be able to apply themselves, who's thinking about all the problems at home and an empty stomach, and just not being equipped to do the tasks at school, and feeling like, oh, these other kids have all this stuff with them and nice supplies, and I don't have that. It's something that we don't necessarily think about. That's a horrible thing. So appreciate what you're doing, James. That's great. That's awesome.
The meal looks good too. I'm hungry now. Great.
We're dinner time.
I got to imagine that there are comments in the live chat right now. When are you guys going to talk football?
Logan, can you at least give us till your
more important things in life?
Half-hour mark? Can you at least give us till the half-hour mark before you go eat?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna be able to hold off. I'm gonna hold off maybe. I'm starving though.
All right. So I'm thinking that you guys have some thoughts about the first scrimmage. We've got a couple of fairly noticeable names here. Jordan Wilson, the transfer tight end from UCLA, who's out for the season, and Chuba Purdy, of course. Tons of people want to see him play, but it's going to be a few weeks before he can get back out there. Logan, we'll start with you in regards to your thoughts about that and anything else from the first scrimmage on Saturday.
So scrimmage, finally, Norvell gets to have one. And they held it in Doak, and it was kind of an evening scrimmage. But, it seems like what I heard from it, there was a lot of energy, but the defense is the defense. It gave the offense really a hard time. The crappy part about it, I don't know if it was at the scrimmage or not, but of course the Jordan Wilson situation, him with his Achilles injury is terrible, and I wish him the best because it's terrible. Is that you hearing the same thing from James for you with Jordan?
No, I didn't know, but I know an Achilles is not fun. That's not a fun rehab.
Yeah, I was about to say that one like always makes me feel nasty in the stomach whenever I think about it. But the staff was really liking him coming into FSU and was hoping that he was going to play a pretty decent part in that tight end room. So he's out of the season. So you got to look at Wyatt Rector possibly going to try to put in a lot of playing time this season. So Jordan Wilson being out, and then also now Chuba Purdy is a situation where Florida State fans were really excited to see him possibly play early on in the start of the season, maybe, and get some playing time, and maybe play against Samford a little bit. But obviously, Samford game's done, and he also is dealing with an upper body injury, and I doubt we would probably see Florida State put him out there at all this season. There's just kind of no reason, in my opinion, just too many different factors happening right now. Let some other cats in there. You got Jordan Travis still. You got Rodemaker also. And it seems like Blackman is a little bit more dialed in. And Norvell was talking about him today, just really, really high on him wanting to learn, but also him helping out others on the team. But he's seeing progress and different kind of mechanics and stuff, and this might be finally the first time he's got an OC and a coach that knows how to coach, but also really be dialed in on him alone rather than one having the foot out the door and the last two coaching staffs kind of not really being that successful at teaching and coaching quarterbacks. So that's a positive thing for James Blackman, and I think there's a lot of solid things. And the best thing about it so far for me is that it looks like I won't have to do my 200 push-ups because I said that Blackman would start the season, and it looks like I don't have to do those push-ups anymore. But yeah, defense giving the offense some problems, and Norvell even talked about it today. He wants to see more. He wants to see more drive out of the offense. He wants players to ask to be coached harder. He wants more intensity out of them, and it's kind of understandable because that defense is it should be a top 25 defense in the country, and the offense still has a lot more work to do on that end.
James, quick question for you. Obviously, we talked about Jordan Wilson, the transfer from UCLA. We talked about him, how he was going to come in. He's going to, with Trey McKitty going to Georgia and whatnot. From a player perspective, when you see two players go down within the first week of practice, and Jordan Wilson being a season-ending injury and Chuba Purdy seemingly could be out for a decent amount of time, how does that affect your mindset as a player when you see two of your teammates going down with those severe injuries so quickly into the fall practice session?
Injuries happen. I've seen Willie Jones, who was a top defensive end coming out of Carroll City, tear his Achilles twice. The right one year, the left one the next year. It's just walking. You've seen when you play this enough, you've seen enough freak injuries to where it doesn't really bother you. The Chuba Purdy thing kind of hinted at, not that I wish him to get hurt, but a lot of people were saying that he's going to be the starter out the gate. And I just asked them what brand of football have they been watching? The guys who end up coming in and starting elite are in two scenarios. Like your Sam Howell situations where North Carolina literally had zero expectations. Mm-hmm. Nobody thought that he would do what he did. So that's and he also early enrolled, but that gives you an opportunity to start a true freshman. But he early enrolled, so you're able to see the fire a lot quicker. And typically those are the guys who play as true freshmen or even redshirt freshmen early on. Nobody's coming in without having a spring season, without having a full, true off-season conditioning at 19 years old. This is not, this is just an observation thing that my white radio co-host, who's a quarterback trainer, noticed of his highlight film. It's very absent melanin. And it's just, and I'm not saying that Arizona doesn't play a great brand of football, but what I'm saying is you ain't seen this before. And now you add that in. So I kind of understood the idea of what Norvell wanted to do with keeping the young quarterbacks live. But this is also what happens, one of the effects that could happen when you have a quarterback live. It's not the end of the world. But anybody with common sense would have known that JB1 was going to be the quarterback considering everything that's gone on with COVID. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. But it's good to hear a lot of the things, a lot of the steps that are taken forward. A lot of coach speak, but that it's better to have coach speak than not have coach speak. I don't know if I want Norvell to just come out and say our offensive line is still ass, but it could just be that our D line is really that good. And when I'm looking at what was it, Lockett, Fabian Lockett, is that his name from Mississippi State? Yeah. So what he's been able to bring to it, Jackson from Louisville, what they've been able to kind of develop into, like that also what I told people, like, yo, take a little heat off of Odell right now, because Odell being able to get those two guys, develop them, get them in the rotation, helps him as far as with recruits, because very few high school kids are going to come in and have that kind of those kind of bodies and be able to perform right now. So it was a scrimmage. It's a first scrimmage, situational, and I think nothing. Let's not get too high. Let's not get too low. But let's just be excited that each day we have practice. That means there's one less day that we have to worry about the season being canceled. Exactly. At least as
Two quick notes before we move on. I want to read a couple comments here so we can move along in the live chat, and also want to apologize to Florida State fans. I will probably forever struggle with Chuba Hubbard and Chuba Purdy. So those are going to get mixed up, but I know who both are, and I've watched them both play, especially obviously one of the best running backs in the nation out at Oklahoma State. Mark Thibodeau, I'm one of Rogers Rangers. So this is the announcement, I guess, for a new fan club or something. Even though I loathe the Buckeyes, Mark knows college football. Thank you. I enjoy his opinions. If they give all the players a proper physical, let the virus-free play ball.
You're pushing a position there, Mark.
And then we've got ACC Grit. Maybe some of you know about this SEC short comedy video on the conferences.
It was a Texas A&M Aggies thing where they took the scene from Jerry Maguire and they put the SEC logo and the Big Ten logo on different teams. Bob Sugar was the SEC logo. Jerry Maguire was the Big Ten logo.
Talladega Nights too, with SEC and the ACC being, was it Ving Rhames? Yeah, it's not Ving Rhames.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan and the other guy in the Big Ten being Ricky Bobby saying he stabs himself in the leg and he's like, nah, don't you wish that voodoo on me? And then she's like, he's always crying, which kind of, if you really listen to this offseason, the Big Ten has been the one that's been crying. The presidents, not the coaches. The coaches can talk trash with the best of them, it looks like.
Logan, I have a quick question about what we've talked about for the last couple of weeks. One of the things that will help James Blackman in the offense is getting that running game back up to gear. And I'm not talking about the Cam Akers running game, which is good. I'm talking about getting it back to that Dalvin Cook, Devontae Freeman, James Wilder level. What have you seen so far from the running game through the first week? Right now, you have to make the decision who will be the starting running back when Florida State takes on Georgia Tech on September 12th.
I think it's kind of expected as your solidified guy to be the starter would be Corbin for me. But after LeBourne leaving, I don't think it's a straight rodeo for Corbin all by himself like it has been the last couple of years for Florida State, having that one true guy that takes the heat for most of the game. I think LaDamian Webb is really going to push with Corbin to get a lot of playing time. I think it could be like a 60-40 kind of situation. There's just too much talent in different ways that you can use and develop these guys in Norvell's offense. If they can have any kind of decent blocking, if they can get on the same page and watch film and figure out where they need to be, this running back unit could be pretty impressive. And they don't really need to they don't have to be crazy talented guys. They just got to get first downs and kind of do their thing. And then you got your weapons on the outside to work. And I think that the running back unit, even though with having LeBourne gone, there's just still quite a bit of talent there that is used. And there's some younger talent too. We might not see it until maybe later in the season, like to a Philly. Even Ja'Kai Douglas can be used in different kind of situations, Corey Wren. But right now, I think it's the Corbin / Webb situation. I don't think it's just a Corbin starting, type of situation. I think it's a more of a Corbin/Webb going into it. And both of them have pretty decent experience. Webb has more experience than Corbin in college football. So we'll see.
I do want to apologize to the viewers. Mark Rogers having a little bit of fun with the movie.
Well, I'm thinking, can we get a better configuration where we can see everybody better? As soon as we get the comments up there, we have a little issue when people get a little long-winded with their comments. We're knocking out James and Logan. So I'm just a little experimentation on the air here.
Yeah, we're hiding my chest here. I mean, come on, I've been working on this on bench and everything. I can't show off my benching, my chest.
See, if you get here earlier, you get Jason's spot. I think that's how
that is true. Wow. Jason's in here immediately.
Yeah, Jason, you send the link and Jason's like, drop everything.
He's usually yelling at me.
I may log on to Twitter at like 6:40 just to make sure everything's good to go. That's part of being the number 2 behind MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. And not being drunk in Atlanta.
Number 1 spot there.
And not being drunk in Atlanta on our birthdays. I'll be drunk in Pembroke Pines.
Nah.
You can see it in 2 weeks here on MarkRogersTV, the voice of college.
I think what we were just talking about, I think Corbin's going to be probably more. It's going to be split. If you look at what Mike did in Memphis, he did have a main running back, but he also had a number 2 that was very active in the passing game and in the running game. And if you look at the way the 2 running backs are built, Coburn, however you say his name, is really built for getting the 25, 30 carries a game. And the other guy is good at 10 with probably about 5 to 10 in the passing game. When you look at what Ja'Kai Douglas is able to do, a very effective backup for Webb, even with Corey Wren. So, I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be – this backfield might have got flipped, but the problem is we don't know. We don't know anything about these guys. It doesn't mean I didn't want Rooster. It just means that now knowing if this is what we have, I'm not as concerned. It's just we got to get these guys. Coburn's a downhill guy, and really, if we could get the running game established, if they're able to read and recognize the gaps, like Memphis running backs were, because Memphis' offensive line wasn't great. They were more disciplined. I think our guys are talented, but if you followed me on Twitter lately, when I watch film from the previous seasons and some of the film I'm able to get about practice, it's not if they're talented. I just think they're stupid, which is more scary.
Yeah.
For me, the worry that I have is what we're going to see early on in that Georgia Tech game, because Georgia Tech, I believe, was 113th in total defense last season. They were horrible in defense. And then whoever we play on the September 19th game that we'll talk about in a little while. What concerns me is the fact that I feel like we're going to build up all of this playing against defenses that we should beat, that we should do well against, and then we come to Miami. Then we go to Notre Dame. I feel like all the goodwill of those first 2 games could be possibly go away in games 3 and 4. That would be my concern right now. I don't think we are going to be as much of a running focus on the running back. I do agree with James. I think we will have a set running back, but I want to see more who's going to be the number 2, number 3 receivers. That's my question right now.
Yeah.
Right now at this point, because obviously we know Tamarian Cherry is going to be number 1. We know Warren Thompson is right now everyone's favorite in the wide receiver room after what happened the past week. But who do you think is going to be number 2 and number 3 at that position?
Right now, I really do like Keyshawn Helton. I really do. I know he's coming back from an injury, but he really worked on his body this offseason. I think he's probably the most focused guy from what I've heard on the team that's just dialed in and really is going to be a true leader too for this whole team, not just the offense, but as a whole team. Like we talked about, I think last week, whenever he went down last year, it was kind of a wake-up call to a lot of fans because, man, that whole team was heartbroken that they lost their guy, and they were talking about how big of an impact he gave to the whole team as a whole. So, and I think he looks good. I think from what we've seen on a little bit of film that Florida State's given us, he looks like he's cutting well. He looks close to 100%, and he looks solid. A guy that probably my 3rd that I'd like to see get to jump in there because there's been some speculation about DJ Matthews and the whole Warren Thompson thing. I've never been really too high. I'll be honest, I've never been really too high on the Warren Thompson thing. I think it's all fall camp and spring hype. He flashes then, but I don't see it during the fall during games. I'm going to go. If that's going to be the case, DJ Matthews and those cats are out, give me Jordan Young. Throw him in. He's starting to become a guy he's a quiet dude. I've been able to have a couple chats with him, and I simply, when I was in person with him, and it was after a bad loss in Tallahassee, he was just telling me, my time will come. I'm patient, and I trust the coaching staff and whatnot. And he's just a good guy, but he's starting to have some flashes during camp now. That name is going to start growing even more and more and more. Amusement Park is coming. And then if I got to have a 4 in there too, give me Brian Robinson. He already looks like a cat that is a junior. Honestly, he looks solid. There's so much talk about Malachi Weidman. Everybody was so worried about it. Everybody was calling me, asking what's going on with Weidman, what's going on with Weidman. Brian Robinson got a little too much slept on, and I think we're going to have a wake-up call too early on in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Brian Robinson first game get some action.
Yeah. James is president of the Jordan Young fan club. I'm the president of Brian Robinson fan club. That's how we're going to work this season during 2020 here.
Redbeard,
I can't even lie to you about that. Hold on, I can't lie to you about that, man. I seen B-Rob mom. Your mom is 5-star mom, man. I was first person on Twitter to say that, man. He's not, but I agree with what Logan was saying. I got a chance to see some pics of B-Rob's work ethic. He did all of that without storms. He was down in down back in Palm Beach getting after it. So his work, and then people didn't get a chance to see his speed in his high school film because his quarterback had a water pistol for an arm. But when you actually saw him, one of the first highlights of the first practices, you see him put somebody in a mixer. And if our quarterback could actually, wouldn't throw a back shoulder throw in the middle of the field, lead him a little bit, it would have probably just been a catch and touchdown, as opposed to him having to reach back. But we have some weapons. Don't make too much of the as the world turns way our media and our fan base takes every little thing that happens. Warren Thompson reacted the way he reacted. The man was practicing with somebody who had COVID. I get why other people said they felt safe. People they was practicing when they had COVID. You're sitting here right next to somebody with a disease that you saw a kid from Indiana almost die. You saw a former alumni die from the after effects, and the guy from Houston opt out. So yeah, you're gonna have to. If I ask you something and you don't address it in the way that I feel is proper, I may address it on social media. That's just the way that today's name is. I'm not taking sides. I'm not defending anybody, but I do know this: you can't cancel anybody, and people don't get kicked off of teams that have a talent. And when I was talking with somebody on Saturday, they was just like, "Man, I hope that guy didn't get kicked off. We need that guy." And when I heard that, I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna kiss and make up." There's only one person in Florida State history that's been kicked out of Florida State that had tremendous talent, and he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver right now. And if you go ask one Robert Bowden, he did everything in his power to not kick him off. That was the president of the university. So I ain't seen the president of the university overstep it. I ain't saying Warren Thompson's Randy Moss. That's what I'm talking about, people. But at the same time, if you're good enough, you can have a misunderstanding with your coach. That stuff tends to happen.
James, how are you going to defame Fred Rouse like that, man? Come on, man. Fred Rouse was the best. Like I said, if you got the talent, sorry.
If you got the talent and you make your plays, you can. Like Fred Rouse had a lot of hype, but it just wasn't the turd. As Dick Thompson says, the turd of talent meter wasn't high enough. But if you're good, shoot, you people will forgive stuff.
I just want to say real quick before we get to Logan's part here real quick. Brian Robinson is proof that in South Florida, in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties, we're strong, we're solid. That's how we do it down here. We get our work in. We do our work.
let's honor some of the comments in the live chat so we can move along there, because we've got some of our mainstays, of course. Redbeard is one of them, and Mike Myrick, and I don't want to miss anyone. So certainly Redbeard is, you guys are high on Young and high on Robinson, but he's high on Tay Rodemaker. Apparently, have you guys seen enough out of him to have any thoughts? Nope. Okay.
He will not start against Georgia Tech. I'm not saying that he won't play mop-up time if it's a big win or in the second game, depending on who they play, but he is not going to start. And Logan's finally come around to my school of thought on this. I'm so happy Logan has come over to my side and realized that James Blackman will start against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was definitely fighting that. Yeah, right.
You fought that one hard, but it's cool. It's cool. Welcome to our side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was calling it from even last season. Blackman was even having a tough year. I said, just let him have some good coaching. But Rodemaker, yeah, I doubt we'll see much of him this upcoming season. Let him get some time, though. Let him keep his red shirt, obviously, but throw him in some games whenever they have a chance. Florida State hasn't had a chance to really do that last 2 seasons, but if you can have a good lead and let him get some action, why not? I want to see Jordan Travis too get in there and get some action, but we haven't really heard much about Rodemaker. It's been a lot of advertising of Blackman though since the beginning of camp. Media posts, everything.
I feel like we just need to amend Logan's statement. A good second half lead, because we had some great first half leads, but they just went away in the second half. So we need to have a good second half lead.
Yes. I agree.
Damn you, Boise State.
We're going to have to wait until at least 2022 to see Nigel Kelly play, but he's a strong side defensive end out of Fort Lauderdale, Jason, that has made his commitment to Florida State. It's way too far in advance to have any ratings from 247 Sports on him, but we picked up anything on his tape or scouting reports.
He is from Fort Lauderdale. He's from Dillard High School, 6'4", 230. He's a good physical running back. I'd like to see him gain probably about 15 more pounds, but he's got the good size. He's got the good bulk so far. Dillard plays in they're in a decent district. They're not playing with the types of schools like Aquinas or Cardinal Gibbons or kind of the bigger schools down here, but they do get their competition in. What worries me a little bit is he did an interview with Knowles 24/7 in which he said he had not visited Tallahassee yet. And a lot of the things like we've talked about, guys who are committing to Miami who haven't left Miami. I wonder if he does stay committed to Florida State. This is the game. This is where Florida State is going to need to do stuff this season to keep these recruits, to keep the class of 2022 and 2021 to a certain extent, to keep them committed. That's why they need to keep these guys, especially guys here in South Florida. They need to see Florida State come down here, kick Miami's butt in front of how many people are going to be inside Hard Rock Stadium to see that and see that Florida State football is back. So welcome to the family. Welcome to the class of 2022, Tribe 22, however we want to call it. Please stay around.
I mean, recruiting is about momentum. So, I mean, part of it, I ain't really going to break it down. I just saw the huddle film get sent to me, so I may go check it out. But he's a 2022 kid. He's still got milk on his tongue. So, I mean, I'm not going to get overly excited about this or really looking at what I'm breaking down. There are some kids like is it Armada, the kid from that's down that way. But we got a ton of former alumni kids who are ranked really, really high and who are really, really good. You got Marvin Jones. You got, like I said, the offensive lineman I just mentioned. They're all in South Florida. You know the key to keeping the South Florida kids? Get that momentum. Utilize what you have. Like, that's why I didn't fully understand C. Murder's son not being taken. I saw some of the film, and I don't talk about teammates' kids, good or bad. I just say it is what it is. But the momentum of having that and understanding, like, to give yourself an opportunity to get guys from a squad. We have the wide receiver from Palmetto, who I forgot. That's another guy who I like, who's doing really, really good in camp as well. But like, just that's really what it comes down to. It's about relationships, and when you have a staff that really, from top to bottom, you have Odell and you have Dugans, but everybody else kind of is weak in their relationships with South Florida. The best way to strengthen it is by going after people who have ties and are important to the university, which is something I still. The only thing that just really makes me scratch my head, and people are like, "What do you want him to do?" I don't need anybody to kiss my ass. I don't really care where these kids go for the most part, but I do know Snoop Minnis loves Florida State, and if you went down there and you were really building that rapport, pick up the phone, call. These guys are going to go and do whatever they need to do to make sure that those relationships are had, even if they don't step foot on campus. Because I'm going to be honest with you, don't nobody give a damn about these classes. Classrooms and facilities are facilities. The energy and are you winning? That's what's going to make these kids commit.
James, I'm just happy that Mike Norvell has recruited somebody from the state of Florida. There was that whole string of guys from Texas and every other state. He actually recruited somebody from the state of Florida, and most importantly, South Florida. But you know what else is important? You talked about momentum. And speaking of momentum, the momentum of hitting the like button. That was
Logan.
That was the transition.
Great transition there, Jason. Phenomenal. You get better every week. I have to give you. That's one of your true talents. But 84 people watching. I don't know what. 40 likes. Actually, that's not too bad. I'm kind of impressed. Usually we're around like 20, so 41 likes, but 85, almost 90 people watching. We got to get this thing to at least 75 or 80 before it's over. But if you hit that like button and also hit the share button, share with your friends. Things are starting to kick up here. We had a scrimmage. We're now on like way under 30 days until kickoff. These nights on Tuesdays are the best places to come for news, and we conversate, we argue, but we all have a good time and give our takes on cool things. And we promise we won't talk about a lot of Willie Taggart or Jimbo Fisher starting this year. We'll keep it just about Mike Norvell and company. But hit that like button. Hang out with us every Tuesday night at 7. This is the show to be at. If you're going to watch any kind of live show, I know there's 50,000 live shows nowadays with podcasts and everything. This is the one that's been doing it the longest. Come here, hit the subscribe button. This place is going to be rocking here in a few weeks. Once we get some football going, this place, we might talk for 2 hours.
In 3 weeks.
For 3.
In 3 weeks, we get to actually talk about an actual football game. Florida State.
Which is crazy to think.
We get to talk about an actual football game, and a week before that, 2 weeks from today, you guys get to shower me with affection on my birthday. This is going to be the greatest time here with Mark Rogers TV and the boys.
And we get to watch an actual football game.
I think
That's what I got out of that. We get to actually see a football game. Let me get to the super chat right here, and then we appreciate Logan selling the show, but also want to point people to Logan and James podcasts and where you can find them in particular in regards to their situation. Redbeard, man, coming through for us again here. Thank you so much. It's that time again. Hit the like button as Logan just outlined. So everybody, whether you agree with me or everybody else, you obviously enjoy the content. So just hit the like button. It helps support the channel, and just grab the link and throw it out there on social media, because you're going to bring in people that have no idea that we're here. Support the Rogers Rangers. I don't know what this is with Rogers Rangers. So I'm becoming like, I don't know, Apollo Cree, when he used to step in the ring and they had like 18 nicknames for him. So it was the voice of college football, but then I got some other ones being tagged on here.
Did you really make an Apollo Creed reference?
I did. He came to mind when I thought of somebody with a lot of nicknames. Ali, but then I thought, no, Apollo Creed from... There's the Rocky scene where they make a comment about how many nicknames he's got when he steps in the ring, and the announcers goes on forever.
Folks, if you like what Mark Rogers does here, and whether you're a Florida State Seminole, a Miami Hurricane, Ohio State Buckeye, whatever team you root for, come up with a better name than Rogers Rangers. Over the next week, we're going to sit here, we're going to formulate it, and the next time you see us, we hopefully will have a better nickname than Rogers Rangers.
I appreciate the effort, and I wasn't going to say anything.
I'll say it. People in the comment section are probably hating me already, so I'll say it. It's the dumb man. Go.
I want to bring up real quick. I don't want to interrupt anything, but I wanted to bring up, because still talking about the scrimmage and just the start of fall camp so far. I want to talk some about these DBs and the cats that just got to Florida State. I'm talking about Miko Dotson and Jerrion Jones. I feel like if I know Asante Samuel Jr. is the real deal. I think he is going to have a great season. But they've brought in some really good competition for these guys. If Coach Woodson really does a good job, and he just needs to do a decent job coaching wise, these cats could be special. I am really stoked to see Miko Dotson. I think that he's already. I heard good things about him when I asked my guy down there at FAU about how he was also in the locker room as a teammate, because I wondered why he was leaving, his senior year to go play somewhere else, and I was worried that there might be some concerns about just his maybe personality or characteristics. I don't know, but I was told he was a great guy, really, really good leader in the locker room, hungry guy. And it's shown to be true, because we're getting word, on social media and interviews from coaches that and players that he really is a good leader for this team. He's extremely competitive, and from what we've heard, and I'm sure James can tell you too if he's heard anything, he's been flashing during these practices, and a solid scrimmage too. And I think the DB unit should be pretty special now. Jerrion Jones too. Jerrion Jones was flashing really early on during fall camp. He's doing great. You're seeing videos of him, and it's not really even fair what he's doing to some of these guys that he's going one-on-one with. So I'm really Florida State, and as a coaching staff, you've got to, of course, this is just practice. This is just scrimmage and whatnot. But so far, you got to be pretty optimistic about the future in regards to the coaching staff and transfers, but finding talent and that actually showing up to be pretty good on the field. So that's a good sign, I think. And the good thing about it too is Norvell and staff are good at developing. So
I just hope we have 3 actual linebackers who can actually play the game, unlike last season. And we've seen the pictures. We've seen they look like we have linebackers. Steven Dix, these guys, they look like they're physically ready. No disrespect to Dontavius Jackson, the greatest linebacker in Florida State history, sarcasm, of course. But it looks like we might actually have 3 linebackers who can suit up and start at that position. So that's the positive mazel tov on the defense. Those are some swole linebackers right there.
I need the summary on Dontavius Jackson, because I think there's a player like that with every fan base that they like to make fun of. But obviously he had some semblance of talent. He started. Was he overhyped and disappointed? Was he a lazy player? Was he a dumb player that he missed assignments?
If you're going to go by,
I'm waiting on you to not give him. I'm waiting on a superlative that he's not, as you mentioned.
Okay,
You just explained that Dontavius Jackson. You watched this film, didn't you?
Let's see this here, James. See if you'll back me up here on this one. If you go with physicality, Dontavius Jackson was a very good player as far as his physical size, as far as his abilities. Somewhere between his abilities from the neck down up into his head, something was missing. And I don't know him personally. I only interviewed him a couple times. Don't know him personally, but it just seems like he would do some stupid stuff that you're like, what the hell is he doing? To a certain extent, he was like a teammate of James, Chris Ricks. When Chris Ricks was quarterback for the Seminoles, hear me out here on this one, James. Chris Ricks would do one play where he would do an amazing run, the amazing flip against UAB in 2001, or he'd have these great plays, great touchdown throws, and then there would be 2 or 3 plays on the next drive where you're going, what the hell just happened here? That's the way I felt about Dontavius Jackson. He was the defensive Chris Ricks.
Chris wasn't. Chris won an ACC championship and at least gave us a great warm feeling beating Florida. I've yet to find a play from Dontavius Jackson that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy over the last 4 years. Like he had a chance to recover a fumble, but they somehow let somebody else cover it up. But he was, yes, but every fan base does have a guy that's infamous. And I think he got a chance to play because there just wasn't a lot of talent. There wasn't a lot of depth of talent there, or the guys who were there were just too young to play. But I'm glad never mind. I shouldn't say I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's doing better things with his life now.
James, Dontavius, we wish you the best in all your endeavors in the rest of your professional life, both on the field, off the field, whatever you choose. We wish you nothing but the best. As long as
I'm going to slightly change gears here just a second, because what came to mind when we were talking about that, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back as I did last year. Any Florida State game I didn't watch because of this show, I watched the condensed, 45, 50-minute version of all the plays chopped up. And I thought, I'm going to go back and watch, and I'm just going to lock in on Dontavius Jackson. I'm going to watch all the major games in the ACC and see what I see. This would be a tremendous live stream to do every week. If we could get a sponsor and I could drag all you guys back here, because I'd actually be compensating you as I should. We roll the game tape, like the 50-minute condensed version from the previous game, and we watch it and get you to comment. That would be phenomenal.
We are not going to torture the fan base with what took place last season, 2018, 2017. We are here to move on. We are moving.
No, I'm talking about the previous week's game.
We are especially not going to do it involving Dontavius Jackson. That's not happening. Dontavius Jackson is done.
Logan, are you hearing what I've been stating?
Yes.
Who are they playing game one? Who's Florida State play game one? Let me draw this out for you.
Georgia Tech.
Okay, they play Georgia Tech. See, the week after the Georgia Tech game, prior to the next game, we do a live stream. We play the Georgia Tech game on a highlight reel, and we just respond to it.
Fans don't want that. They want Logan intoxicated. They want James saying "Mother F these kids." They want me insulting Miami. That's what the fans want. We give the fans what they want here.
Well,
that's
also because our highlight films haven't been very good.
Well, highlights, lowlights, whatever they turn out to be.
James, I was trying to be diplomatic there.
There's my man, Mr. G14 Classified. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I like that. Support, man. We've been rolling.
Who do you guys want to play in this 11th game, non-conference?
So it's kind of interesting that you saw it coming when the Southern Conference, which houses Samford, they announced they were the latest in the FCS conferences to announce that they are not going to be playing football in the fall. And that meant Samford had to cancel their September 19th game. To me, it basically gives the indication that it's going to be one of two options. They're going to have to keep it in the state of Florida, and that leaves one of two options of FBS teams who have open slots, USF and FIU. To me, I want to play FIU for a variety of reasons. Number one, we haven't played FIU before. Florida State and FIU have not played. FIU has played Florida one time. They've played Miami 4 times, including last season when FIU pulled off the upset over the Hurricanes. I think it also would be closer to what Samford was to play a team like FIU as opposed to a team like USF. I think FIU is a little bit better. I think FIU gets Florida State ready for the following week when they have to come down here and play Miami. So I think it should be call Butch Davis up. Obviously, FIU's been dealing with a lot this week. The tragic loss of assistant coach Aubrey Hill, who passed away on Sunday after a long battle with cancer. Prayers and thoughts and prayers go out to his family on that one. But I think if Florida State can work it out, let's get FIU up there on September 19th.
I'm down for anybody. I'm down for anybody. I don't know. I don't really have like a special pick, really, honestly, because I haven't been able to keep up on who's canceled in the conferences and whatnot. But I'm down for anybody here in Florida. Make it fun. Obviously, you'd like to have a team like FIU, just a little bit smaller, so you can actually get some preparation before you have to face off against your rival Miami down there and where Jason lives. But I really don't have a big pick here. The funny thing is, though, Gators don't play. No. I believe that week. If I'm correct,
SEC starts September 26th. But Florida has already said that's not going to happen. We need to realize we're not going to play Florida. Florida backed out. Scott Strickland's a little whiner. I remember just now from Publix because we should have today with Armo's cast for a month. I did for about like a month and a half. I did. It hurt like hell. That was me.
Did you really? Oh my gosh! Wait, they actually.
I'll bring out the cast next week.
So James is getting flagged down at Barnaby's, and you get flagged down at Publix by our guy at Donby.
You got to buy stuff for the tailgate. You got to get the tailgate.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go talk to Barnaby's. I feel like this is getting old. People are getting sponsorships. We gave Barnaby's a huge shout out for about 10 minutes last week.
I didn't even get a chance to go in there, man. I'm sorry, I forgot all about it, man. I went to another Tallahassee spot but I'm not
Oh,
gonna
wait.
tell them. They didn't recognize me. I just look like everybody else who walks in.
I'm gonna go over there before the end of the weekend. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna talk to them and see what's up, see what's popping. I mean, even if we get pizza sent to us, like every Tuesday night or something, I will take that. Just have it send frozen ones to us, and we bake them and we eat them here.
Mark, I was making a great philosophical point. I was going to evaluate the schedule, and then you got the ADD twins down here who you brought up articles. Now they're talking about where they're going to get free food in Tallahassee.
I'm hungry.
Well, then go eat something.
I want another plate of fried rice that I just ate. It was amazing.
Down there, fried rice from James. It's delicious. But right now, the only other options are it's going to be FAU. UCF plays Georgia Tech that week. FAU plays Georgia Southern. USF had their game with Nevada canceled when the Mountain West Conference canceled their games. And FIU had their game canceled when Old Dominion said they weren't going to play this season. So who would you guys – I mean, honestly, right now, would you rather see Florida State play USF or FIU? What are your thoughts?
I
think USF is an easier win. I think USF is a little bit worse than FIU right now. I think they're both good teams, but I think FIU is a little bit better. So USF coming up to Tallahassee, even in 2015 when they came up there, I still have horrible flashbacks to that 2009 game. I'm sorry. I don't want USF.
Yeah, give me any of them. I don't give a damn.
Did you guys have a struggle with them in 15, and then Dalvin Cook put his foot down and got things down in the second half?
In typical fashion, what happened is we got a big lead, and then a certain head coach, we're not going to mention his name because obviously Logan said we're going to move on from this point. But our
who won the national championship.
Right, he won the national championship with a team that we could have all won titles with. But moving on for a second.
That he recruited.
No, he didn't. His assistants recruited, then went to Kentucky and Cincinnati and other schools. Moving on, as I was saying, we built a big lead and then took our foot off the gas and had to hold on to that lead. Like the Miami game later that season where we had a big lead, took the foot off the gas and had to hold on for a 29-24 win.
I could liken the Jimbo Fisher situation to the Urban Meyer situation at Florida. So you could be the Florida fan, and I know I'm saying a bad word here, and be the Florida fan who says, I hate Urban Meyer. He ditched us because he wanted the job at Ohio State, and he was just making an excuse, blah, blah, blah. Or you could be the Florida fan that says he won 2 national championships in 3 years. Jimbo Fisher, the same thing, right? I'm not touting Jimbo Fisher as Bear Bryant or Nick Saban. I'm just saying he's a good coach who's very capable. I don't think he's a great all-time coach.
I will give you credit. He was a very good coach. He's very good at what he does. He's a very good coach at that. All I have said is that 2013 team was a bunch of amazing talent. I think it's the greatest college football team in history. And I feel like Jimbo Fisher gets a lot of credit for, he wasn't involved in that build as much. That defense was brought in by guys like Mark Stoops, who then went on to become the head coach of Kentucky. The offense was guys like Eddie Gran. Those guys who came in to recruit, they recruited South Florida, they recruited Central Florida, and brought those guys in. Once Jimbo started to have to do more of the recruiting, you see classes from 2015, 2016, 2017, and that's where you start to see a little bit of the downfall. That's all I'm saying.
Every team that's won a national championship during this playoff era has been loaded. So you have to have great talent to win a national championship.
Whoa. It's 2020. Did I just hear a home phone call just happen, right? This is holy.
Yeah.
Logan, I hate to admit it, but I'm going to bail Jason out on this one. I still got the landline working. And I get made fun all the time.
Hold on, I got the landline.
But I am a lot older than Jason.
But I'm also going to say, you can make fun of it all you want to, but it came free because as an NBC Universal employee, we get our Comcast for free. So this internet is free. This cable is free. This phone is free. If they want to give me a free phone, sure. Why not?
That's kind of my deal, too.
Call me when you get on my level. There. Call me when you get on my level, Logan. I have more money to spend on alcohol that I don't get hungover on.
Jason's coming after me. He didn't even wish me. Yeah, coming after me.
Mr. G14 Classified will work on these T-shirts at some point, man. I would love to deliver on that.
Logan says he's going to send a hat.
I've got to make some more. I've got to make some more, and I will send y'all some. I guarantee it. I was gone all weekend. I got to learn how to ship. I got to learn how to start shipping.
I got the connection right here with Logan. I got the connection right here with Logan. You can tell me how to do all this merch.
You put it in a box and you go to FedEx. It's not that hard.
Nah, FedEx, that stuff costs, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie. The USPS was so good to me until they started doing all this other stuff. Like, it's directly politics is now directly affecting my life. All the other stuff, I'm not 100% sure when it will affect me, but it doesn't affect me now. But right now, them slowing down stuff got, and you, especially when you're shipping, you can see where it goes. They send you around your elbow to get to your ass, man. Like just the stuff. Like, it's like I'm sending something to Tallahassee, and for some reason it needs to go to Nevada before it comes back to Tallahassee from Jacksonville. I could have drove it faster. So anybody who knows, who has bought something for me and you ain't got it yet, I don't know who to blame, but it ain't my fault.
I had to order something off from Garden and Gold, which is a store in Tallahassee. I had to order it because Logan said I was going to get a hat. I'm apparently not going to get a hat, so I had to order things from Garden and Gold. So I'd like to thank Logan for that. I had to spend my own hard-earned money on that. So thanks, Logan.
What is this?
Fresh is here.
That's called
you know, Logan, this is funny, Logan. I'll tell you this. I must be like a poor replacement for you because you know what? My live streams for the last few days, you know who's been making comments to me? Fresh. But as soon as you come back, I'm done.
I don't know. It's got to be one of my friends or something trolling it. It's so they do this on purpose or something.
Let's talk about this, guys. Is Logan one of the sexiest FSU fans? What are your thoughts?
I can't be that because I'm a student fan.
You're not as sexy as like the cowgirls back from James and I era. James Bird, Fabio Romano, those girls. Those girls were great. But you're not as sexy as them. You're cute.
The Booker twins. The cowgirls. No, yeah, the cowgirls. I remember the cowgirls. Yeah.
Several of them became Miami Dolphin cheerleaders down here. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're able to find them. You found them, huh?
Yes.
Kept up with them.
See, Logan, I'm actually friends with them. You build a friendship. I'm stuck in the friend zone. There's no way I'm out of it, but I'm just saying I'm in that friend zone.
This is a good question from Claude talking about Blackman here. And I was mentioning, Norvell has been talking about Blackman a lot and lately, and he's been talking about his growth. I think more what we were hoping we'd see is mental growth and kind of working more on that situation. He obviously, you could see a faster release from him. And this is still 7-on-7 crapola, whatever. He didn't have pads on when we were getting videos and whatnot. But I do think there is going to be a slight improvement in Blackman just because of the coaching alone. And the one thing that he's always needed to probably work on is the short reads. And also, he would trust his offensive line. But, after a while getting hit like that, you do want to move. But if you're going to move, you got to figure out some footwork there. And that's something that they talked about early on to start the fall camp with Dillingham was we're going to work on just the small mechanics and how he's structuring his body whenever he's back there in the pocket. And so I think you will see a little bit slight improvement, a pretty decent improvement from Blackman. Hopefully. I feel like I said that every year though. But I do like this coaching staff.
I do love how SEC Dog is trolling us on losing 3 straight years to Miami. You haven't won a national title since 1980. Mark is the only one alive when Georgia last won a national title. You have no room to talk. You can't say anything.
Is that true?
Yes, Georgia won in 1980.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time.
Was Jimmy Carter president?
Jimmy Carter. Was president. Yes, he was.
Reagan would have it would have been very close to the inauguration. So Carter would have still been president, yes, until the January 20th, 81 inauguration.
James and I weren't born for a couple more years. Logan would be 2 decades away. So yeah.
So at what point does a national championship become old, though? That's the question.
I think you can't talk unless you've won it in the last decade. You have a 10-year, I think, moratorium.
Well, that's your rule, but that's not the rule, obviously. That's your opinion.
I would say anyone can talk if they've won a national title between 2010 and 2019. So that anyone who won in that 10-year period, you can still talk. If you're like Miami, where your last national title was when your freshman class this year wasn't even born yet, you can't talk. If you're
The-
Georgia,
That's what I was gonna say. What Jason just said, like it's cool for us as people to really just talk about it and laugh and joke as fans or people who cover it. But when you really step back and you're like, dude, like this kid wasn't even a gleam in his father's eye when the last time I won a national championship. You can no longer really just be the top. But playing for a national championship, I do think gives you something. Like, but again, I just don't like when your team sucks as bad as we've been sucking. I try not to get into too many trash talking battles.
Oh, stop. I've seen your Twitter. You're a liar. You're lying to the kids. You're lying to the kids and the family at home.
We are talking about one of the top 5 programs in the country right now. So I might be the contrarian, but I think number one, national championships are overrated. I've explained many times why they're overrated. It's not the NFL. It's not the Super Bowl. It wasn't an objective playoff system that determined who plays in the national championship. No, not a timeout. Go to it, Jason.
The Super Bowl is overrated. You cannot tell me that Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson are better quarterbacks because they actually have a Super Bowl ring and Dan Marino doesn't.
James, please fill in the game of football. There's 22 players on the field, and we're rating quarterbacks to determine Super Bowl championships. That's the most idiotic response I've ever heard. Rating championships.
Dan Marino is the greatest quarterback in NFL history. I'm a little biased.
We're not rating quarterbacks. We're talking about the relevance of championships. And you're talking about Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer. Their teams went on the field, protected them. They had a game manager type mentality because they had great defenses and great running games. What's that have to do with winning?
Barry Sanders is the greatest running back to ever play in the NFL. He doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Calvin Johnson was an amazing wide receiver. He doesn't have
Absolutely.
any Super Bowls.
We could go on
There's
and
a
on.
lot of guys who are amazing that never got an opportunity to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
But I do know this is that the reason why I don't have any sympathy for people who just got there is because I believe personally it had the BCS been around or a bowl system. I mean, not bowl system, a playoff system been around. Florida State would have a lot more rings under Bobby. Bobby would probably be what Nick Saban, what people, even though I think different eras got to judge them different ways, but I think Bobby would be looked at in a much different light because when you think of all those times when FSU was a top 4 team and their loss came to a great team, a better team that if they got an opportunity to play again, they would have won. And I also think that just like few of Saban's national championships are tainted. Not in a bad way, but I'm saying like if I beat you during the regular season at home, i.e. LSU, I shouldn't have to play you again. Especially if you got to sit out the conference championship game. So if with FSU beating Florida, or was it tied? But anyway, we beat Florida. We should not have had to play Florida again in the Sugar Bowl. It's hard to beat the same team twice. Florida came back, did what they needed to do, whatever. But if the rules were fair, Florida would not have had their first national championship and probably would have no more. But, I'm not here to argue about the past. But
you're making my point, James. The national championships are tainted. I'm not saying that the team that won the national championship didn't accomplish a great thing. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying because of the subjectivity of how those teams are determined, that's exactly what it is. We could go on and take each year and say that team could have been in the playoff, that team could have been in the playoff. It's an invitational. It's not the Super Bowl or the World Series or the NBA championship where there's an objective system to determine you earn a playoff spot. They're selected. The teams are selected to play in a playoff. The teams were selected to be in a BCS championship game. I'm not saying that the 2 or 4 teams that were in the process didn't earn it. I'm saying that there were other teams that had just as much of a claim every year, and almost every year.
Mark is 100%. I will give Mark some credit here on this one, like just using for this. Let me pull out an example real quick. 2014. If things had been done right, Florida State was the only undefeated team because Alabama had a loss, Oregon had a loss, Ohio State had a loss. So we should have been the number 1 seed, gone and played Ohio State, spanked Ohio State around in the Sugar Bowl because we all know Ohio State was just a pathetic team that somehow backed our way into the playoffs, and then we would have killed either Oregon or Alabama. Mostly, I just said that to see what Mark's reaction was going to be.
Yeah, the Oregon team that you lost to by 39, that lost to Ohio State by 22.
100%.
Jason, so I apologize for jumping on you. I'm just not understanding your logic pointing out players and how significant they are to teams. I just didn't know where you were headed.
No, my point
Guys,
is,
I gotta bounce, guys. I'm gonna let
Thanks,
y'all.
James. Appreciate it, man.
go get your fried rice. No, my point was simply to be made about how you said the national championship is I forgot the word.
I think it's tainted.
Okay, but that's your point there. My argument is that I think there are other titles that are, to me, less relevant. To me, the Super Bowl title is not as relevant, and I stand by that point.
As a national championship in college football?
I think absolutely the Super Bowl is less relevant because, I'm sorry, you look at an example. You look at, for example, the 2007 Giants.
Sure.
The 2007 Giants played one great game. They played great games to get there, but they played one great game. They played their best, and they beat a Patriots team that was undefeated at that point. And I'm sorry, Brad Johnson has a Super Bowl ring, and Dan Marino doesn't.
I'm not rating players. We could go on and on about great players that played on bad teams or marginal teams or decent teams that didn't win Super Bowls. I'm not talking about players. There's a playoff system in the NFL that we all know what it is. And if you qualify for the playoffs, then you go and you play in a playoff structure. And the New York Giants, that particular, went on the road and won 4 games to earn a Super Bowl championship because those are the guidelines that are set up in the NFL playoffs.
Greatest quarterback ever in NFL history.
Yeah, he's in the top 10.
But I will say that to answer your initial question about what you have to be as a national champion, I would say within 10 years. I get what James is saying about playing in it, but I would say probably 2010, Auburn, the Alabama teams in that decade, Ohio State in 2014, Florida State in 2013. I think once you've reached that 10-year point is where your national championship, it doesn't matter as much.
So in 3 years, you're no longer going to brag about a national championship and put down the Georgia fan who hasn't won one in 43 years.
I don't brag now. And in fact, I'm looking.
Why no, you're not.
I'm looking really quick. I can tell you, if we're going to be perfectly honest, I own 4 things that say 2013 national champions. A hat from the locker room that my staff at my old station, because they went out there and covered it, and I went to a wedding that weekend that was previously planned, so I couldn't go out to the title game. But they got me from the locker room. A Coca-Cola bottle, the program from the game, and the newspaper from the Tallahassee Democrat that I had framed. That's it. I don't own anything that says national championship because for me personally, once the 2014 season started, all that 2013 stuff didn't matter. Just like once the 2020 season starts, the 2019 season doesn't matter, just to me personally. So that's why I don't purchase any of that stuff. I know Logan's his entire wardrobe is 2013 national title, but that's not me.
Wrong.
You have an Orange Bowl hat?
Now, James made me hungry, and I was already thinking about getting Chinese, and he said fried rice.
There.
Now I'm sold.
What did you get? What did you get from the Chinese food?
I'm gonna order it. I'm gonna get some General Tso's with some fried rice.
General,
and my egg roll too.
We are definitely in overtime.
We are sponsored by whatever Chinese restaurant Logan's going to in the greater Tallahassee area.
I can't tell the names because we gotta get a sponsorship, so I can't tell them.
I said Popeyes all the time. Go ahead, just say the name. Where are you?
I'm going to Tasty Asian. It's right down the road from me. It has some really good General Tso's. I need some good General Tso's in my life, and they give you a big chunk of food too, so you can sign me up. I'm starving right now.
It's General Tso's. I'm sorry, General Tso's.
Who cares? It tastes good.
He cares. General Tso cares. That's why he made you his chicken.
The general did.
The general on this one. Setting the bar high with FIU. I'm sorry, Georgia. We can't all be like you with your we're wusses. We're only going to play SEC team schedule. Yeah, I said.
All right, folks. Logan is starved. He's done 10 or 12 minutes of overtime work day after his birthday, after 2 hours sleep, and reminded everyone just a few minutes ago, there's a reason you need to be here every Tuesday night, and these two guys make it happen all the time. Got Jason Parker, NBC6, Mr. Perfect, Jason Parker. And then I got to say, with Logan showing up after 2 hours sleep, man, that almost makes up for maybe 2 or 3 misses.
I think so.
Logan,
Yeah.
I have to agree with you there, Mark. I do. I think now I'm kind of on the same level as Jason is being here
you're not even close to that level, but you are definitely the MVP for today. You're the man of the match for today's moment. But you're still
just my one time of the year. Just my one time of the year. I'll take it. And then whenever. Well,
see now Redbeard is going to try to stalk here. He's going to try to talk smack on here, but then he's going to try to be nice to me on Twitter. Pick one or the other, Redbeard. Pick one or the other. Pick one. And I do know what the fans want. They want Dan Marino as the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
Oh
it's an argument, sure. You can have that argument.
I can't wait to hear this gentleman say Ben Roethlisberger, but that's going to be cool.
Well, I mean, I know I have a Super Bowl and I'm going to the playoffs this year, so I can't wait.
You're not going to the playoffs. Ravens.
No. Good, funny joke of the year. That was a fun ride for the Ravens.
Okay, folks, if you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications. You know when we go live with our Florida State show. It's typically on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time, but you never know. So you got to subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications.
That was a cliffhanger right there. Will we be live next Tuesday? Stay tuned.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. Well, it'll just be me and Jason and James. God knows what we'll do.
No, I was supposed to say stay tuned, and then Mark was supposed to hit the off button. So let's try that one more time. Yeah. Will we be here next Tuesday? Stay tuned.